আমার হৃদয়ে স্বদেশ প্রকৃতির রূপে বন্দিত এদেশের সব পশু
In this part of the lesson, we will discuss about a special type of relation called function or mapping. These two terms are actually same, as if two different names of a single person. So, what kind of speciality this relation have? The specialty is in this type of relation, the elements in the domain should not have more than one images. Like in our last video, we have given one example of relation that is husband. There we have seen Dashrath was related to, or I must say mapped to, three different elements or names in the codomain, that is Kaikeyi, Kaushalya and Sumitra, which is not allowed here in the function. And one more speciality it requires, that is all the elements in the domain should have at least one image in the codomain. Though these restrictions are not applicable for the elements in the codomain, that is, the elements in the codomain may have more than one preimages or it may not have any preimages. So you have understood what is function, and you have seen that there is a domain and range in a function. So if I replace the range of a function by the set of real number or a subset of a real number, then it is called a real valued function. And if I replace both the domain and range of a function by the set of real number or a subset of real number, then it is called a real function. Now let's have a look on the classification of functions. Functions are mainly classified into two parts, algebraic and transcendental. Then algebraic is further classified into four parts, polynomial, rational, irrational and some piecewise functions. And transcendental functions are also classified in trigonometric, exponential, logarithmic and inverse trigonometrical functions. Further, polynomial functions are of three types: constant polynomial, identity function and general polynomial function. And few more other functions are there in piecewise portion. They are greatest integer function, fractional part function, least integer function and modulus function and signum function. These are the complete classification of functions. Let's know about the definition and their graphs of some of these functions. First of all, identity function is a real valued function whose definition is f such that R to R, where f of x is equals to x. That means whatever element I will take in the domain, image will also be the same element. That is, 1 will map to 1, 2 will map to 2, minus 2 will map to minus 2, even 0 will map to 0. Constant function is a real valued function where whatever element you choose from the domain, it will map to a single constant number in the codomain. If f is defined as the higher power of x with the constant coefficients, then it's called the general polynomial function. For example, f of x equals to x square or f of x equals to x cube is the polynomial function. Next, a rational functions are function of type f of x by g of x, where f of x and g of x are separate functions. For example, f of x equals to 1 by x is a rational function. Obviously, the domain of the function should be all the real numbers except the point 0, since the 0 will not have its functional value under the function f of x equals to 1 by x. Our next function is modulus function, or another name is available for this function is absolute value function. The definition is f of x equals to x for x greater than 0 and f of x equals to minus x for x less than 0. That means if you give any negative value to this function, it will convert it into the positive, but if you give some positive value, it will be kept unchanged. And signum function is nothing but the division of the modulus of x by the real value of x. So it is f of x equals to 1 if x greater than 0, 0 if x equals to 0, and minus 1 if x less than 0. Our next function is greatest integer function, which is also known as step function, and it is denoted by f of x equals to box x and is defined as following, which means within the interval it will take the greatest integer value. Like here in the definition, within the range -1 to 0, the only integer portion is -1, and 0 to 1 only integer portion is 0, so the functional value will take 0. And between the range 1 to 2, only integer value is 1, so it will take the functional value as 1, and so on. Let's discuss a problem where we have to find the domain and range of the function root over 9 minus x square. If you observe the function nicely, then you can easily understand that for any value outside the range close interval -3, 3, f of x is not valid, as a negative number will come under the square root. That's why the domain has to be the close interval -3, 3. But it is our observation. To find the domain in a proper manner, we have to follow the following steps. F of x is valid if and only if the inner portion of the square root, that is 9 minus x square, is greater or equal 0. And after solving this inequation, we are getting x is less equal mod 3, which is nothing but -3 less equal x less equal 3. Thus x belongs to close interval -3, 3, and it is the domain of our function. Now what about the range of that function? Let's choose an extreme value from the domain, that is -3 and 3. For both of them the functional value is same, that is 0. For both of them f of x equals to 0. So the minimum value that the range can have is 0, and the maximum value of the range can be obtained if we put the minimum absolute value from the domain, that is x equals to 0. And the functional value of x equals to 0 is f of 0 equals to 3. Thus all other functional values will lie between the range 0, 3, close interval 0, 3. Therefore the range of the given function is close interval 0, 3.
নীল আকাশ নীল জলে আমার হৃদয় কথা বলে, নীল আকাশ নীল জলে আমার হৃদয় কথা বলে, মাছরাঙা আর চাতক পাখি মনকে করে রঞ্জিত, মনকে করে রঞ্জিত। আমার হৃদয়ে স্বদেশ প্রকৃতি রূপে বন্দিত, এদেশের সব পশু পাখি বনরাজি অনুভবে নন্দিত।